defender, but the player in white attempts a swinging check anyway. While this swing is a foul, to stop the attacker here would clearly be a disadvantage to her. It is appropriate for the official to raise an arm indicating a foul has been seen, but hold the whistle and allow the red player to continue. The player in the dark uniform is racing upfield when the player in white appears and makes the check. A closer look reveals the defender is too close to the head as she reaches for the check, and she also leaves her feet while making the check. While this is a dangerous check, the attack player in this instance is able to scoop up the loose ball and continue quickly downfield. Again, this is a case where stopping the play to penalize the foul would be a clear disadvantage to the attack. We'll end this section with two examples where slashing should be called and carded. In the first clip, as the player in white begins to run upfield, the defender swings recklessly towards her head and body. The whistle should sound immediately, and the player in blue must be given a card for slashing. Here, a held whistle would not be appropriate. Had the attack been on a scoring play, the official would raise the flag, allow the play to continue, and at the end of the scoring play, the card would be given. In our final example, both defensive players could be carded. The player swinging first is off balance and reaching back as she swings recklessly towards the player in white. Her teammate, approaching from behind, slides her hands and leaves her feet while attempting an uncontrolled check. This lack of control almost causes her to fall as she misses the check. This would not be a held whistle, despite the fact that the attack player now has the advantage. Timeout must be called. Both players must be carded, and the team in blue will now play two players down for 3 minutes of elapsed playing time, as no substitutes will be allowed for the carded players. When play is restarted, no player from the blue team is placed 4 meters behind the player with the ball.
I'm Kim Bosner, National Coordinator of Umpires, and I will be discussing the last 2 points of emphasis. First, the use of cards. Umpires are encouraged to use cards more frequently to control and change player behavior. In addition to the fouls where a mandatory card must be given, umpires are instructed to card for excessively rough, overly aggressive, and dangerous play. Officials must take into account repeated fouls by the same team or player and upgrade to cards in order to alter player behavior. Additionally, if yellow cards are not having the intended effect, red cards must be used to control the game.
Any check to a player's face or any check that contacts the player's eyewear must be carded. The first example shows a player not in full control of her stick as she reaches back towards the player with the ball and clips the player in the face. A yellow card for a check to the face must be given here. The second example shows a check that rises to the level of a red card. The player in red stands and simply swings right across the face of the player in white, making forceful contact. She was never in any position to even attempt a legal check in this case. The fact that there was a swing back across the player's face with forceful contact made is dangerous and intimidating, and a red card is warranted. Here's an example of an attacking player in a vulnerable position. The defender attempts to reach across the attack from behind, slowing her down, and then barrels into her, knocking her to the ground. This must be carded. Our next example shows how important it is for the trail official to be mindful of what happens after the shot is taken. While the player in red doesn't swing recklessly, she is not in control of her stick at the end of the play and contacts the player in white in the side of her head. A yellow card should be given, and because a goal has been scored, play would restart with a free position at center rather than with a draw. The red team would be a player down, as no substitute would be allowed for the carded player. Now we'll show two fouls being committed by the same player, either of which would warrant a card being given. First, we have a big swing by the player in white, followed by the body-to-body contact that sends the